Welcome, companions. I'm sitting on the stoop of the old farmhouse here, and I'm ready to tell you the next story about my expedition. As you will recall, the previous one was about establishing whether it is actually feasible to get into the area from my base here north of Joburg. Once I was convinced of that, I could start with initial planning, but I dragged my feet because I was worried about leaving Nell alone on the farm for so long. I was caught in von Clausewitz's conundrum. Although our intellect always longs for clarity and certainty, our nature often finds uncertainty fascinating. Ja, natuurlijk, Herr General. I would go so far as to say uncertainty is irresistible. I think Nell sensed it because she came to me and said, I really had to go, I needed it, and she would be fine, many times before. And that pushed me over the edge, and I proceeded into the next stage of detailed planning. Now, the first thing was to establish the departure date, and that depends on a lot of factors like my responsibilities on the farm, and I'd like to have a full moon when I'm in the bush so that I can see well during the night, and she'd done it. I don't want to be there when it's the rainy season and you get stuck all the time, and many more. So all of those considerations together led me to decide on the end of April and May for the expedition. And now I had to proceed to do more detailed planning.
Now the first step here was to get my old 4x4 machine Madala into my workshop for a checkup. I had to check the undercarriage, any signs of cracks or fatigue, all the nuts are tight, that all the drivetrain is okay, play on bearings, grease all the greasing points, make sure everything in the engine is fine and it's running smoothly. And then I get to the equipment. That includes the bush breaking equipment, the spares and other tools I need in the bush, the containers that I use to pack the supplies and equipment into, are they still working? Then I have a list which I compile at the end of every expedition that has to do with improving safety or mobility. Stuff like checking electrical connection, making a bush bar to protect the front of the vehicle, repairing the running boards that had been damaged in a previous expedition, improving the mountings of the spare wheels because they're very heavy, mounting USB points and repositioning the fuse box so that it's easier to reach the fuses. Now, the detailed planning all had to happen after hours in my study. I had to develop a broad framework that I could follow once I get into the wilderness, actually. It was difficult, and I knew it would change because I couldn't really foresee what I was going to find there. But I thought that I would head for the road that leads northwards towards Jamba. And I'll go a little way along it northwards, and then I would turn east, southeast actually, and work my way through the bush, and in my normal fashion, stop and explore where I found it interesting. And that was about as much planning as I could do at this stage. For the rest, I'd have to improvise when I got there.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll join me again next week. Goodbye.